In Spanning Gateway, this is Asia. I was just building upon something, and I want you to build with me on magic, because this is important too, especially these days and age. And we need to have an understanding of what magic is at its root, as its source of the word, and how we use it every day, because it's a state of being. Okay, it exists whether you are aware of it or not. It is just a state, and we're able to perceive that in many different ways through magicians and witchery and manipulation in all different types of form. But we're just focusing on the root of it at this moment. And this might have to be a part two. And I'm holding this phone. Sorry, it's shaky because I can't. This dictionary is not working with me. So let's just look at it real quickly. The source of the word magic, the magic art, that which says a lot, huh? Sorcery, that's a good word because we're going to build on that. Okay, magic as a state of being is the magic art. So it is a art form, okay, because we're all able to use our creative art ability, anything we take time into and build in creation, right? Sorcery. Okay, so that means that we all, right, have ability to be into some type of sorcery, right? That's a form to go into. I'm not saying that we all do. Well, sorcery from magi, magicos of the magi, from magoi. Okay, anyways, I want to take a look at these words. The magi are priest, okay, of the Medes and Persians skilled in sorcery. So it's really magic is identifying with a magic art, okay, and then sorcery, and of the magi. Let's look at a couple of things. What's next? Okay. Did I remind me? Oh, it's right up top, huh? Right there, duh. Okay. So this is the observation or perspective, magus, okay? Because that's another root of the word magi and magic, magus. Member of a priestly caste. Okay, so this is a state of being. It's a noun and something that we all have the ability to be, right? A magician. We all have the ability to be a magician. But it's still about the understanding of magi and where that comes from, okay? And so we're going to look up magus. Hopefully you can see it's not too jittery. Okay. Now let me see. Magus is a noun. It's a state of being. This is what is it? How do you say? Derivation of the words. Okay. Latin, Greek, magos. One. Okay. Of a Median tribe. Okay, that's a grouping of people or a people that were in a location that has some type of sense of community and culture. And enchanter. So a magus is an enchanter. So I'm not sure how to describe enchanter, but it's a way of making something appear a certain way. It's a form of manipulation, right? Because if you're an enchanter, you're making something appear a certain way in order to attract, right? I think that's a good way of explaining it. Damn, go on, girl. So that's more of a root form of enchanter, because we all know we have these abilities to do these things. We have the ability to enchant, lure somebody in or something, whatever it is that we're trying to pull in, okay, by setting up appearances. So that's magus, okay. And then let's get into this. Number 2, which is correspondence, how we correspond, relate to magus, to being a magician, to magic. Okay, how we relate. Number 2, a magician, a sorcerer. There's that word sorcerer again. Or ancient astrologer. Wow, because this is it has to do with the orb, the circle, astrology, the science of the stars and of life. Especially Simon Magus in what, Acts, is that 8? Chapter 8, 9 through 24. Okay, so an astrologer, okay, ancient astrologer. So this has to do with, I don't want to say time. The ancient has to do with time in its root form. So it's talking about older forms of time, older cycles. So this astrology has been carried out, right? Because we still use astrology today. So this is just referring to an older cycle of time of astrologers. But magus, magic, right? Is corresponding to an astrologer. And it also has to do with enchanting, but we're going to get into that and how these things happen in our correspondence within ourselves and outside of ourselves. Okay, but this is how to identify the natures of what the spirit is doing, what the spirit is. Let's get into sorcery. Okay. Sorry, it's shaky, y'all, but it's just doing what it do. Sorcery is a noun, state of being, of course. The supposed use, okay? So supposed is not definite, it's not complete, it's not whole, because it's just a suggestion or an opinion of an observation, right? If somebody supposes something, they aren't necessarily sure in knowing. They are more in a belief. So that's a way of supposing. So the supposed use of an evil supernatural power, okay? Because this is supposed, so that's just someone's opinion on how to identify sorcery, a sorcery state of being, okay? That existence. So the supposed mean that is an opinion of an evil supernatural. Now, I did a video on supernatural, right? It's something we all have the ability to do. Anything that is operating nature, super, it's above or below on the horizon, natural. So we're able to manipulate, right? That's supernatural, is able to manipulate power over people and their affairs. Witchcraft, black magic. Okay, so that's all corresponding to magic. Witchcraft, black magic, astrology, supernatural powers. Okay, magi, magus, those are all correlating. Okay, so power over people's individuality, right? Or systems or environment and their affairs. This is in the most natural state. So this is anything that you give your power away to, or somebody's imposing their will upon you, can be considered witchcraft, black magic, and power over your affairs. Now, when it has to do with affairs, bear with me. Hopefully I don't turn this thing off. It correlates. We just talked about astrology, right? The study of the science, the study of existence, different existences in the stars, the natures of certain energies. So we can relate, let me see how much time okay. We can relate magic to these different symbols because we just identified in the definition of black magic, how convenient, representing the dark, the black, the negative, the internal, this relating to all of these things are in the unseen. Okay, so we also have light or white magic. It's just different poles of what magic is, and different ways of producing different outcomes based on manipulation of these things. That's magic. And then giving someone having a power over you. What is the word that I used? Your affairs. This is your affairs. It has to do with astrology. I hope that makes sense. You can see the correlation between the magic and the words and the dark and the light, right? And how it has to do with your affairs. Magic can be used on you by the way that you think. Someone can tell you something that's wrong, and then you start operating out of that wrong information. That's magic, because you have been manipulated into thinking a certain way. Your emotions can be manipulated. Objects can be manipulated. These are things that we do every day. And then we can have people's will, wherever they are in their spiritual location, whether they're in the dark or the light, can also manipulate or change, have a supernatural, use their supernatural power, because everybody has their supernatural powers in their space. They're able to operate different forms and bodies of expression in order to get in a desired outcome. And a lot of times when you can't or are trying not to force anyone to do anything, but you want to express your will and get something in which you want to receive, we use a form of enchantment, right? That's something that we have ability to do. We present things, how we present things. We get ourselves ready a certain way. We usually alter ourselves, not, you know what I'm saying, not like that, but it's a difference when you're just getting out of bed and then you get dressed. It changes your whole state of being. That's a form, of magic in its most natural state, because it's just a change of energy, a change of existence, or however you want to explain that. And then it gets built upon to people doing actual things and having actual practices and systems of getting desired outcomes. And that could be of the positive or the light. This is where people get different type of rituals, but rituals in its natural sense is something that we all have the ability to do to get a desired outcome, something that we continue to do because we know that it's going to work in our favor or our benefit until we decide that it's otherwise. But when it comes to magic, this is our observation station. We can see how it plays out in different forms. And usually anything dealing of the light, right? Any magic dealing of the light is to have positive outcomes, right? To giving, having boundaries is protection, having the right perspective and seeing things from the right, perspective or angle, taking the right action. The right deals with the masculine. Building. Okay? So you can use magic for the light, for yourself, and what you're trying to achieve in life. And a lot of people consider astrology a form of using magic because it's a way to be in alignment with the universe and get the desired outcomes that you are trying to achieve for your will, your purpose. And then there's magic of the dark magic, in which there are many rituals and practices. But before that, it is still to achieve, a desired outcome. But you gotta see which side are you operating in? Are you in of the light or are you in of the dark? Because most likely, if you're doing dark magic, then you're going to be in of the dark. You know what I'm saying? Things are going to be unseen. And represents more of the destruction, the feminine principle does. I could write that on there too. Building, yes, building, right? And then the feminine represents more of destruction. So this is, part 2.